welcome to Therapy in the Word. In part 1, we explored how trauma can echo through generations, through emotional patterns, identity, behaviour, and even the nervous system itself. But understanding trauma is only part of the journey. The deeper question is, can healing happen across generations too? And according to both psychology and scripture, the answer is yes. One of the deepest effects of prolonged depression is that survival responses can continue long after the original danger has changed. Over time, hypervigilance can feel like wisdom. Emotional suppression can feel like strength. Overworking can feel like worthiness. Distrust can feel like safety. And eventually, people stop asking, what happened to me? And instead begin believing, this is just who I am. But trauma responses are not identity, and they are adaptations. When suffering is minimized, denied, or distorted, it creates what psychology calls invalidated trauma. It is not only the original harm that wounds people, it is the silence afterward. The feeling that your pain is dismissed, your history is questioned, your reality is minimized. And this can create confusion, anger, shame, grief, and internal conflict. Healing begins when awareness interrupts the cycle. This includes recognizing emotional patterns, learning nervous system regulation, rebuilding identity outside survival, and reconnecting with truth, safety, and belonging. Psychology calls this healing and integration. Scripture describes something similar through renewal and restoration. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That renewal is not denial, it is transformation. It means inherited fear, shame, and distortion do not have to become permanent identity. Jeremiah 30:17 says, "I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, because you are called an outcast." This is powerful because it acknowledges both the wound and the restoration. And Isaiah 53:5 says, "By his wounds we are healed." Healing is not pretending there was no suffering. Healing is what happens when truth, safety, restoration, and love begin reaching the places that were wounded. The Most High is a God of justice and righteousness, meaning he sees what was distorted, he sees what was stolen, he sees what was denied. And justice is not only punishment, it is restoration, it is putting things back into rightful order. So the invisible wounds of the African Holocaust are real, but they do not have to be the end of the story. Because trauma may explain the pattern, but it does not determine destiny. What was shaped through survival can be reshaped through healing. What was wounded can be restored. And what generations carried in pain, future generations do not have to carry in the same way. Because healing can move through generations too. So as we close this conversation on the invisible wounds of the African Holocaust, we begin to understand something important. Trauma does not appear out of nowhere. Oppression does not sustain itself by accident. And systems that repeatedly dehumanize people are not only social problems, they are rooted in deeper issues within the human heart and spirit. Because behind injustice, history often reveals the same destructive patterns: pride, domination, deception, the need for superiority, and rebellion against truth and righteousness. And this leads us into the next episode. We are going to explore why racism is not just prejudice or ignorance, but something far deeper in its nature and fruit. We'll examine how racism reflects the spirit of pride and rebellion described throughout Scripture, how it distorts identity, fuels division, and opposes the truth that all human beings carry value and dignity. We'll also explore the psychological side of pride, superiority, projection, and fear, and how these patterns become normalized within individuals and systems. Because healing requires more than naming the wound. It also requires understanding the forces that helped create it. So, in the next episode, Racism is Demonic, the spirit of pride and rebellion, we go deeper. not to condemn people, but to expose patterns, to understand the roots, and ultimately to move closer to truth, healing, and restoration. This is therapy in the Word, where the truth sets you free and the Most High brings you home. Shalom.